Hey guys, Jeremy here with Simple Little Life, and welcome to installment number 16 of Viewers Knives. These are all knives that are made by you guys, the wonderfully talented viewers of this channel. Thank you guys so much for sharing your knives, and I'm so honored to be able to share those with other people. It's really neat to see what so many different people, different walks of life, different parts of the world are making. Let's get started. The very first knife we're going to look at is sent to me from a gentleman named Orlando, and he's from Puerto Rico. For his very first knife, he decided to do a dropped point. He used 01 tool steel for it, bloodwood for the handle, and he used bronze pins. He put a mustard patina on the blade to protect it, and I think this knife turned out absolutely fantastic. Really nice clean lines there, nicely finished off. Very, very nicely done, Orlando. Alright, the next knife we'll look at is sent to me from David. He is a 13-year-old knife maker from Croatia. This is the very first knife he made. He used 01 tool steel, and he used a paracord wrap on the handle. He decided to go with a sort of a tanto type look and wanted something fairly simple for his first project. I think this turned out fantastic. Very well done, David. Alright, Alfred is from Sweden, and this is his daily carry knife that he made. This is the very first knife he's made from scratch, including the blade. He forge welded the blade, and for the handle, he's decided to do a stacked pattern, and he actually has a list of what it's consisting of. From front to back, he's got moose antler, birch bark, birchwood, and reindeer antler. And then he also has some leather spacers in there. He started making knives when he was 15. He's now 19 years old, and he's an aspiring farmer. That is really cool. This is a great looking blade. Very nicely done. What a lot of work you put into this, and it is really great to see. Keep up the great work, Alfred. Thank you for sending this in. Alright, Cole is a 19-year-old knife maker, and he's been making knives for about 2 years. He sent these two knives that he's made. These are great looking blades. I really like this first one here. Nice shape to it. That looks a lot like the very first knife I ever made. I really like that. It looks like a green micarta of some type. And then also this second knife here, this tanto with that really interesting honeycomb scales. Those are great looking blades. Look like he also used Damascus on that one. Fantastic work here, Cole. Also, I'll put a link in the description below to his Instagram account if you'd like to check out more of his work. Thank you for sharing these with us, Cole. Next, we're going to go to Deltona, Florida, and David is a 45-year-old knife maker. This is the fourth knife that he's made, and he says these videos that I've made have really helped him a lot, and that is really awesome to hear. It's kind of one of the biggest reasons to do it, is it's just fun to share the knowledge, and to actually hear that it helped you guys out is fantastic. This is a great looking blade, David. Thank you for sharing it with us, and keep on making knives. Alright, next we're going to go to Jason. He's a 42-year-old knife maker, and these are some of the neck knives that he's made. You see he's got a Zippo in there for reference, and one thing he says about this, something I've never ever thought about before, but it's a great idea. You know, he had a hard time finding stock and metal that he could use to make knives with, so he just took a bunch of folding pocket knives, stole the blades off of those, and turned them into his own knives, and that is a really, really cool way to go about it. You know, one of the comments I get all the time is, oh, I don't know where to buy steel, where do I get steel, I can't find steel. You know, that's always an option. Find some less expensive pocket knife or something that you don't mind sacrificing, take it and just pillage the steel from it to make your own blade. What a creative way to go ahead and get into knife making. So Jason, thanks for sending these knives, and thank you for sharing that idea. Alright, next we're going to go to Greg, and he's from Boston, Massachusetts, and he sent some pictures of these knives that he's made. The very first one was a kitchen knife he made for his mother-in-law. He did Coke bottle shaping on the handle and oak, and then also he made these mosaic pins with some copper tubing head left over from plumbing in his refrigerator, as well as bicycle spokes in there. That is a really, really cool concept. And then he's also made this other knife here, and it is a skinny knife with those same mosaic pins. Really fantastic blades. Greg, thank you for sharing this in. Thanks so much for the kind words and the great email you sent me. Really do appreciate it. And these are great looking blades. Alright, next we're going to look at a knife made by Thomas, and this is the third Kiridashi he's made. The steel he used is 1098. He used chemical bluing, and he says that this sucker is shaving sharp. What a great looking knife. Looks like he's got nice orange and black G10 scales there, and a really great looking Kydex sheath for it as well. Thomas, this is a great looking knife. Thank you for sharing it with us. Next, we're going to go to Balaz from Hungary, and he is a hobby knife maker. He made this sheep's foot EDC, and he says it was inspired by the shape of the knife that I made, and I definitely see a resemblance there. This is a great looking knife. I do a hollow grind when I do my knives, but he did a full flat grind on this one because he doesn't have a contact wheel for his grinder. But what a great looking knife. It's really cool to see other people's versions of some of the knives that you've tried making, and I think you nailed this one. Very nice work there, Balaz. Thank you so much for sending this in. Alright, Eric's from Phoenix, Arizona sends pictures of this knife, his Kiridashi, or Beardashi as he calls it. It even says here, you know, Beardashi is a stolen name, but come on, I mean, it's Beardashi, whatever. I think it's a great looking blade. He made it from a file, obviously, and really, really nicely finished off. Very good work, Eric. He also sent pictures of this anvil, his homemade railroad track anvil and stand that he made. I think this looks fantastic. Really, really well done. Also, I'm going to leave a link to his Instagram account in the description below if you'd like to follow along and see some of the other stuff he's made. Thank you for sharing this with us, Eric. Alright, this next knife is sent to me from Eric, and Eric is from Saskatchewan. He's actually an Instagram buddy of mine, and you know what? Eric actually made me a homemade handkerchief, and I love that thing. I use it all the time. Thank you, Eric. I really do appreciate it. This is one of the knives that he's made. He used 3/16 01 tool steel, and actually he had his own homemade jute cord and black linen micarta for the scales on this. This turned out absolutely fantastic. I'll leave a link to his Instagram account in the description below. Go ahead and give him a follow. You know what? Eric does a great looking blade. Thank you so much for sending it in, buddy. Alright, next we're going to go to Ryan. He describes himself as a newbie knife maker. He's 24 years old from Oregon. And you know what? This is a great looking knives that he's made. These are the first two knives. Both of them were from 1095 steel. He used black G10 for the handles, and he also used a blue G10 liner for the tanto knife. He's really getting excited about this awesome hobby. He said he's learned a lot from this channel as well as other channels on YouTube. And these are great looking blades. Ryan, thank you so much for sharing these with us. Alright, over to Germany we go, and Louis, this is not the first time I've featured his knives on this channel, but you know what, these are some new knives that he's made. He also says that he really appreciates the grinding tips and tricks video that I did. They've really helped him a lot, and actually both of these knives were both freehand ground, and I think these look absolutely fantastic. What great looking blades here, Louis. It's really cool to see your knives coming in and getting better and better every time. So scales for these knives, use stabilized Moor oak and spalted beech with a bronze liner, and the smaller one is out of 15 and 20, and the larger Santoku is 01 tool steel. Very great looking blades, Louis. Thank you for sharing these with us. Alright, still in Germany, we're going to go to a knife from Kai, and he made this knife for his wife. That is really, really cool to hear. He's a 25-year-old knife maker, and he says the knife community is huge where he is, so that is really neat to see. The steel he used for this is C75 carbon steel, and he says it's hardened to 59-60 HRC. The handle is padok, and he used 8mm steel pins. I think this is a great looking blade. Thank you so much for sharing this. I'm sure your wife absolutely loves this. Very cool for you to make her knife. Joshua from Dallas, Texas brings us this knife. He says that this channel has been a huge inspiration, and that's really cool to hear. And this is a great looking blade. Joshua, thank you so much for sending this in. Henry is an Australian hobbyist knife maker, and he sends pictures of these two knives that he's made. Really great looking blades. Also, he has a YouTube channel. I'll put a link to that in the description below. Henry, thank you so much for sending these knives in. These look fantastic. I really like this one with the rasp, this big Bowie styled knife, and this other smaller one looks like a super comfortable little blade. Thank you for sending these in, Henry, and keep on making knives. Alright, Ollie's the next knife maker we're going to feature, and he's a 14-year-old from Finland. He says he's got very minimalistic tools. He's got an angle grinder, a drill, and file and sandpaper, and that's really all he uses. He also makes his own leather sheaths by himself, and these are really great looking blades. The first one here he's done is a hunting knife for himself, then he made a karambit, and then also a wood carving knife, and I really think these look fantastic. 14 years old, making knives like this, such useful tools. Very well done, Ollie. Thank you so much for sending this in. Alright, next we're going to another knife maker from Saskatchewan, and this is from a 15-year-old named Colton. This is the very first knife he's ever made, freehand ground the bevels, and he says he wasn't too pleased with them. The next one he's going to use a beveling jig, but you know what, I think this is fantastic, and you know what, I like to hear that, you know, maybe you're not entirely pleased with the very first knife you made, but I love hearing on the next one what you're going to do differently. And that's the whole process of knife making. You learn what you've done on one blade and apply it to your next one and continually get better. Really great to see you making knives, Colton. Keep it up, and thank you so much for sending this in. Also, the color combination on this blade is fantastic. I love those red liners with that gray, looks like a G10, and those black pins. That looks just stunning. Very well done. Next, we're going to go to Texas, and Joseph is a 16-year-old knife maker. He's also got a YouTube channel where he shows kind of the making of his knives and some of the knives that he's made. I'll put a link to that in the description below. I really like this looking blade. Nice Curanite for the scales, and just really, really great looking shape. Looks like a very comfortable knife and a very useful blade shape. Joseph, thank you so much for sending this in. This is a great looking knife. From Texas to Pennsylvania we go, and Rob is a 25-year-old knife maker. He's always wanted to make knives. He didn't know where to start, and then he came across videos on YouTube, on my channel and other channels, and said they've given him a lot of inspiration, a lot of great ideas, and actually got him to making knives, so that is totally cool to hear. He's been making knives for about 6 months now, and he'd really like this one shown on Viewer's Knife, and I think this is a fantastic looking blade. Really great job on darkening it up, giving it a nice forced patina there, excellent looking jimping, and the profiling that you've done on your handles there, the shaping of this G10, that looks absolutely fantastic. So Rob, way to go, way to actually do it, pick up the tools and make knives. That's a great looking blade, and thank you so much for sharing it with us. Well, that is where we're going to wrap up this edition of Viewers Knives. Thanks so much to everybody who sent your knives in. Really cool to see what you guys are making, and to, you know, to inspire each other and learn from each other, and just this community that we can be a part of. It's just wonderful. If you'd like to have your knife featured on this channel, just email me, jeremy@homesteadknives.com. Please keep in mind though, I've got a rather large wait. Like I feature the knives in the order I receive them, and right now it might be even more than 6 months before I actually featured on this channel, so just be patient with me, but we will get it featured. Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Show your support for the makers in the comments below. It's really cool to see you guys encouraging each other and commenting on each other's knives. Really, really fantastic to see. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Cheers.